Good afternoon. Steve Brooks here with Friday's Inside Look by Brooks. First of all, Merry Christmas to everybody. I really haven't started my shopping, so I got a lot of work between now and Monday. I hope you guys are having a safe holiday season. Driving to Orlando, I wouldn't recommend it. The traffic is horrible. Tampa seems to be a much more reasonable option. Today, I want to talk about something that I think is going to be really beneficial for Florida drivers. The Florida legislature is very smartly entertaining the idea of adding mandatory bodily injury coverage. Right now in the state of Florida, bodily injury coverage is not mandatory, so it's optional. And a good 40 to 50% of people on our roads do not have bodily injury coverage. That leads into my next question. Okay, you may ask, what is bodily injury coverage? Bodily injury coverage is the insurance that the opposite driver carries. Let's say the opposing driver runs a stop sign and T-bones you. If he doesn't have bodily injury coverage, there's no pot of money for you to go after. So mandatory bodily injury coverage will mean that anybody that causes an accident will have a pot of money attached to their insurance policy that we can go after to compensate you for your injuries. This is a much fairer system. Right now, the only insurance that's mandatory is PIP. Florida is a no-fault state. So if you're in an accident in Florida, you're required as a driver in Florida to carry PIP coverage, which is, coverage to pay for your medical care. And there's limitations on that. If you don't go to the doctor within 14 days, you may be limited to only $2,500 in coverage. PIP coverage is good in that it does give you access to medical care. But if the other driver doesn't have coverage for you to go back to compensate you for your pain and suffering, you could be left, even though some of your medical bills are paid by your no-fault insurance, you could be left owing money and not being compensated for your pain and suffering. So the bill that is being considered in the Florida legislature would potentially make a mandatory BI policy of $25,000. So that means that every driver on the road has to have bodily injury coverage. So if they're at fault in an accident, they have $25,000 of coverage that you can go after to compensate you for your injuries, your medical bills, and your pain and suffering. So it's a good thing. The bad thing is PIP may be abolished in this bill. There is a movement now to make some form of medical payments coverage mandatory. Medical payments coverage is very much like PIP in that it's there to cover your medical bills in an accident. So if we have a combination of a mandatory bodily injury coverage of $25,000 together with a medical payments coverage, drivers on the state of Florida roads are going to be much more protected. So I think there is support for this bill on both sides of the aisle, meaning Republicans, Democrats, and the plaintiffs' bar and the defense bar. So it's a good bill. We're very happy, and we want you to encourage your legislatures, your state senators, your state representatives to pass this mandatory BI coverage of $25,000. So my voice is doing a lot better this week. Christmas, the last 2 months of the year for a personal injury attorney, they're actually our busiest months of the year. So we're very much like retail in that sense because all of the cases seem to come to a head towards the end of the year. We want to get cases closed. The insurance companies want to get cases closed. So November, December are incredibly busy, and it's been that way every year I've been in the business, and this year is no different. So it's a busy time for us. I haven't started my Christmas shopping. I'm in trouble. I am up the creek. I'm going to have to somehow, pull something out of thin air and make things happen and pull this out. But you and your family, everybody here wants to wish you a Merry Christmas. We hope you have a safe and happy and joy-filled holiday. Most of my family is going to be here. My mother was recently in the hospital, so thankfully she's out and she's in a rehab. So we're going to join her at the rehab facility on Sunday and meet and celebrate Christmas with her. And we hope in your unique circumstances that it's a happy time. So thank you for joining. And any questions?
No questions.
Okay. So thank you very much. Merry Christmas.